Fuck the psychiatrist, low key, but thank you for prescribing me Adderall. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'm a shine like gloss. What the fuck is up? Welcome to the Boss Up Bible Zoom edition.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Caitlin, and this is the Boss Up Bible episode. We don't know what the fuck episode it is.
Yeah, we don't know what number episode it is, but today we are focusing on slowing down and taking time for your mental health. And Caitlin has a lot to say on that today.
Oh, damn. Okay, so just so everyone knows, I can't hear myself, so I might be yelling.
You're always yelling. That won't change anything. It'll be exactly the same for them.
I'm always yelling, but I'll be extra yelling today. So, anyways, so it is Thanksgiving Eve. That means it is National Blackout Day, and I'm in my house.
We are staying inside today.
And because we made a big point about going outside and how there's danger outside, I have a story about going outside.
You always have a story about going outside.
Oh, I have so many stories about going outside. But anyways,
Caitlin, why are you on Zoom?
Okay, so we are on Zoom today because so I finally decided that it was time to take care of my mental health. And that is, as you all know, I talk about this a lot, that I've been seeing a spiritual healer for like 6 months, but I come from a family of doctors, and I've argued with my family for years about letting me see a psychiatrist and, you know, possibly getting medicated. And it was like a big battle because nobody really wanted to diagnose me with things. And growing up, I definitely was like having panic attacks. I definitely like couldn't focus. Now I will say that I battled, I'm not gonna say like an Adderall addiction, but kind of like an Adderall addiction for like since college. And it was one of those things where like I didn't want to believe I had ADHD, but today I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Like solidly.
So
literally, like, Caitlin is fresh off of the psychologist's couch and coming to you from her own couch right now.
Yeah. Actually, I was at the psychiatrist today, and it was actually it was a very interesting experience because I've never been to a psychiatrist, and I was very anti going to see a psychiatrist. And the reason I was anti seeing a psychiatrist is because my family comes from the medical field, and for some reason I was undiagnosed my whole life, you know? And so I always thought that there would like be a hierarchy between like you and the doctor. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. The doctor is kind of, and I will say that I experienced exactly what I thought I was going to experience going to see the psychiatrist today. I saw him last week, and basically my dad like called in like a special favor, and they basically got me in as fast as possible. And after I explained my life, which apparently to him sounded like a grandiose fairy tale that I made up, they thought I was manic and bipolar because they thought that the story that I told was not real.
Like, y'all know how Caitlin goes through her stories and like tells you about her life, and it's real and it sounds unbelievable. They thought that she was lying.
They thought I was lying. And it was crazy because I must be a fantastic actress because I ran through my whole year. So if anyone knows me, I mean, if you've been following me for the past year, I started OnlyFans around September last year. I started Woof around this time last year. I blew up on OnlyFans December last year. So this isn't even in my 1 year yet of being blown up. And literally. That also, like, that story to him made no sense. I was like, listen, bro, I was a normal ass bitch 1 year ago. And then all of a sudden I became the most famous person on one of the biggest sites, and I didn't ask for it.
And I don't know how to explain this to you.
And I was like, and I
in a way that you understand.
So that was the thing. And even I've had that problem explaining this to my family too, because the thing is, I was like, I am the pioneer of this day and age, you know?
Well, yeah, no one was doing podcasts on OnlyFans at all until Woof.
So like, and I had to have this conversation with my family today where like my parents are like, my mom was like, we got the podcast thing, but we didn't get the OnlyFans thing. And my sister goes, Mom, you didn't get the OnlyFans thing because she was the first person to talk about it. You know what
That's
I
the
mean? She was like,
whole
so she's
point.
like, that's the problem. They're like, so she had nothing to relate herself to. So she had all these issues because she was constantly looking for something to relate to, but there was nothing to relate to.
Well, also that's how people validate things, is like what they can relate it to and what box they can put it in. So if you're someone that created a box, unless you're someone that understands like pioneering a space, you don't realize that like that is
You
the
pioneer a
box. Like you
space.
can't
Yeah,
be
so
like, "Oh, I'm like the next Britney Spears," unless there's a Britney Spears, you know?
so and exactly, and Tori actually talked about exactly that when she wanted to be literally like Britney Spears. When people ask me actually who I want to be like, my answer used to be I wanted to be Julia Rose, right?
Really? I didn't even
And
know that.
oh yeah, dead ass. That was like I wanted to be the next Julia Rose. And but it's funny is because now the answer is I was like, why would I tell you who I want to be like if like I think that like I can be better than that? You know, like
Well, yeah,
I was
you
like
should
I
always
was like
strive to be
I don't
better.
I was like I don't think that there's like a perfect person that
Yeah.
I see myself as anymore. Before, like for example, Julia was my icon because I saw how she went from how she branded herself so well.
Yeah.
It was very good branding, you know, and like especially because before, you know, like I've been working on the idea of the Not Your Future Girlfriend brand. I talk about this a lot. How basically like I had this idea to build this Not Your Future Girlfriend brand, but I didn't think I fit the role.
Mhm.
So it was funny that it took years to finally people were like, that is literally you.
Yeah.
That is your character. And so I built this character that I wanted to be. And I saw her do the exact same thing. She was not Shag Mag until she decided I am Shag Mag.
Yeah.
Like Julia Rose is Shag Mag, and I saw how she branded it so well, how she went from being, you know, like a regular influencer like us to then being all of a sudden one of the biggest influencers on the internet.
Yeah.
And so I saw how she pioneered that, but then also once I saw that done and realized how easy I could replicate that because I saw myself do it with Wolf.
Yeah.
Like I went from being Caitlyn to being Caitlyn from Wolf to being Wolf to
Yeah.
being Not Your Future Girlfriend,
Yeah.
you know? And it was one of those things that I it happened all so quickly. And the thing is, I went from my highest highs to my lowest lows in the literally the quickest amount of time.
Yeah, that's I think the thing that
So
people don't really grasp about the space is that like it's all sliding scale. So if you don't really you can set your life and like plan it to a certain extent, but at the end of the day it's all still a gamble, and it's like having a restaurant, like shit's seasonal. Like there's certain times when your shit's going to be really high and you're going to be calm and chilling and like feel like everything's easy, and then there's certain times where your shit's going to be low and it's just like, "Oh, damn, like should I still be doing this?" And you start to ask yourself all those questions, and then like that's just a normal thing that everyone goes through, and then you add it in like this is also a space that not everyone is
so
so
that
respectful of, you know?
so that was the thing is so to my doctor when I explained the story, I basically like I will give a summary of what I said, right? I basically said, you know, I'm finally here because I feel like I basically I was like, okay, so one, I definitely have some sort of ADHD. I was like, however, I have anxiety and depression, but I don't know if that's from overwhelm and stress because there's a pressure for me to be a pioneer of the space, or if that's pressure and like, you know, from my family, or if there is this idea that like I need to be someone. And I basically kind of told him how I like branded and rebranded and rebranded and rebranded like probably 50 times this year, and it hasn't even been a year.
Dude, I rebrand all the time because I feel like that's constant evolution. As you're like growing as a
So
person, your brand should constantly be growing, especially if your
so
brand is
that was
you.
so that was the thing is I told the guy that I was like a year ago I was in a magazine as top 30 like top entrepreneurs under 30 to look out for, and then all of a sudden I became a podcast host for a sex podcast. I was like, and then I was like to destigmatize OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Then I became the voice of OnlyFans. I was like, I was the biggest person on a $1 billion site.
Literally.
And I was like, and then all of a sudden I had all this money. And then I was confused. And I was like, and it was weird because I fell into this money, but I also fully believe, I don't know if anyone saw my story recently, but like I believe money is energy. So like if you're like, you know, you get repaid the energy that you're putting out. And because I was taking a lot of weight for the community, like I was getting heavily reimbursed for it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so I fell into all this money, and I was 23 years old, and it was a space that I did not like. It was like me and Adelia were literally the blind leading the blind, and it was like something that like, and that was the joke of it. It was a joke. We created a podcast as a hobby. Then all of a sudden we became the biggest, most recognized people on the site, and then all of a sudden everyone was out to get me. Like I had managers out to get me. Like I had pages being deleted of me. I had people like constantly like, I was like, now I have a stalker. I can't go outside. People know my name. And I was like,
all the stories, that people have been.
I had to explain to the doctor too. I was like, this is a site where people can use the name user123, and I have 700,000 of them.
Yeah.
And like I was like, so when you are in a world and you're in a room, and you know, you on Instagram, you know, there's John Joe, you know, John Joe, whatever. But since there's 500,000 user123s, user123 could be my dad, could be my mom, could be the kid that lives across the street, could be the kid I went to high school with. Like, there's a lot of anxiety when I go out into spaces because people know me, but it's not a space that people are going to admit they know me.
Yeah.
You know?
That is
and
the
then
thing.
I started that was where it got weird. And then I started to realize too that I obviously speak a lot of truth. We're moving into a generation of authenticity. So I really didn't realize the reach I had. So I'm like talking about, you know, eating ass, getting my toes sucked, like shit like that. And all of a sudden, you know, people are coming back to me with this information. And I'm like, where did you hear that from? You know
like
what I mean? And I'm like, and then I was like, oh my God, I did not realize. Because the thing is also we were pre-recording. So like, and it was like we were pre-recording. So I didn't realize, like, and we were continuing to blow up by like thousands every day, you know? So like, I wasn't ready to like have to be like, damn, like people are about to know everything about me, you know? And then at the time I was also vlogging. And my vlog was about being an OnlyFans girl and like what it's like and running a business and all that stuff. So people saw like both sides of me, but I blew up this whole direction that kind of then made me scared of going outside. It made me scared of people.
Put you on a psychologist couch in New Jersey.
It put me out. Well, yeah, because like I mean, like Tori met me exactly when
it really started getting big. Like you had just hit 100K.
Yeah, and it's like, and I remember meeting you, and you knew who I was, and I'm sitting there like I barely even knew who I was. Like, you know what I mean? And like I remember going to Miami and meeting all these OnlyFans people, and everybody knew who I was. And it's like, and I didn't expect that I was like, damn, they're like, you're the girl we need to meet. And I was like, I'm the girl, and I'm there like thinking we're like there to party, right? You know what I mean? And then I started.
KAITLEN'S always there to party, and then realizing that she's been set up for a work experience.
Yeah. But it was actually hilarious because dead ass, I went on like a month-long vacation and I worked the whole time, and I paid for all my friends to party. I'm not even fucking with you, like, and it was crazy, like, you know. But basically, it ended up finally I decided to like be open and honest with my family, like, because that was one of the big things is I slowed down on OnlyFans around when I got my eye ulcer, because so that was after Miami. Because I started to realize how many people were using me, and I wasn't really sure like what people were being real with me. And like I even had that problem with like Tori's group of people because I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? Like, and it was like me and her had to have that conversation where I was like, listen, like I was like I don't even know I was like anymore, because I was like I keep falling into groups of people, you know what I mean? And everybody wants something to do with me, but like I just thought I would, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Tori like had to like literally be like, no, we literally like you. And I've had to have that conversation with so many people. Like, people have to be like, we like you. And like, and that's so hard for me, is because I spent a lot of my year like kind of isolating, and I spent a lot of my year on a plane every 2 weeks because I was chasing this dream and I was chasing this life. And also, I don't know if everyone's like, if you follow me on Instagram, like you've been seeing, I've been on a lot of covers of magazines. There's a lot of press on me right now. And like, um, that I think I started to take that direction because, I think I needed something that people were proud of. Like, I needed something to validate me for some fucking reason, you know? And I was like, oh, if I do like editorial modeling, my parents will be proud. And that, I'm not even gonna lie, my parents were then like, why don't you sign to a modeling agency? And I was like, I am the pioneer of a space. I changed a space, and you're asking me to go do what
everyone else is doing.
Like, yeah. And it was weird too, because I was like, I had to explain to him so many times. I was like, I'm living everybody's dream. I was like, do you know how many people want to be on covers of magazines, or like people want to be written about, or they want to be like the voice of reason for something? I was like, I've done it all. And that's what I said to the psychologist. I was like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a podcaster, I'm a model, like I'm a published model, I'm on covers of magazines. I have a second podcast. I was a vlogger. I was like, I've built multiple businesses. I had an OnlyFans agency. Like, now I'm building tech companies. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, every important person I've ever met has wanted to work with me. And he was like, this story is manic. Like, he literally, like, today he actually said,
dreams so big they make other people uncomfortable.
It was the weirdest thing. He was like, are you sure you didn't make any of this up? And I was like, why would I make this up?
You're like, check my references.
And then he literally was like, I need to talk to your family. So I had to bring proof. So I brought and it was hilarious because he was like, so the first time I went in, he literally diagnosed me. He said, it sounds like you could have ADHD, but I really don't think you have ADHD. I think you're just bipolar, and I think you're manic. Because he's like, this story is just like too ridiculous for it to be real. Like, I literally was like, okay, think about this. I was like, my life went from being like, okay, I was like, you're a doctor, okay, you're in med school, no respect. Now you're a doctor, you have MD next to your name, okay. Now everybody wants something to do with you. I was like, that's what my life looks like. I was like, I look exactly the same a year ago. Nobody gave a fuck about me. Yeah. All of a sudden, I have all these followers, all this clout, all this money, and all of a sudden everybody wants something to do with me. And I was like, I had to step into that character, like, because I was unaware.
Well, it's almost like you created this character and played this role, and then you didn't realize like you were actually
that
doing
I was
it.
That person. Like, okay, and also, what makes it funnier too is I kind of explained to him too. I was like, when I moved to Miami, that was when my Instagram got deleted. So I had to make a new Instagram. So
everyone probably thought you died.
So all the people that don't follow me, like I don't have anyone from my high school follow me anymore, but everyone that meets me, all they see is that I'm this big model. So how do people treat me? Like, I'm a big model, podcaster, all this stuff. Like, they see that I am this
doing the
famous person. So and then it's like they meet me and they're like, you're so normal. And I was like, because I'm normal. And it's like, and like, you hear the stories I tell. I have stalkers. I have people coming for me and all this stuff. It's because they see this new social media persona that I don't see myself as. I'm like, I'm just like you and I was like, however, I guess I just happen to be on all these magazine covers. There's all this press on me, and I have all this nice modeling content, and I have podcasts. I was like, I didn't realize that made me anyone special, but then I realized, oh wait, like, I guess it does,
Yeah.
And so it was funny. So today I went back to the doctor. So last week I was pissed because I left with no prescriptions, right? I was like, I literally thought I was just getting an Adderall prescription, and I thought I was gonna leave and fuck off. And go back today, they made me bring my family, and I kind of said, the only person that's gonna know anything about me really is my sister. So I brought my sister, and it was crazy because I could hear them from outside the office, and he asked, did she make up that story? Like, and they're like, he's like, there's no way that she.
You should have been like, yes,
that,
yes, actually I did.
like, they were like, he was like, there's no way that she's that accomplished in a year. He's like, that sounds like the most made up thing I've ever heard, which is because he said to me, this is manic behavior. You like, he was like, you made up this story that you have all these people watching you, all these people listening to you, have this big ass following, and you're crying on my couch. Like, what's wrong? And I was like,
Everything.
what do you not understand? That I'm the only person that feel. I was like, I'm definitely. And I said to him, I was like, and I said to him this today, I was like, listen, homie, like, I'm probably the first person you're gonna see that has this story. However, this story is gonna happen again and again.
Yep.
You know, I was like, I was like, I personally believe that I'm dealing with this now, and my healer says the same thing, is that I am dealing with those emotions to then heal this community, because somebody has to heal it, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, and so it was like one of those things where like it was like and everyone knows how I tell stories. Like I mean, like I was like, I'm a podcaster, bro. Obviously it sounds like a story. You
literally.
know what I mean? I was like,
it's
I was
what
like,
I do. I'm well versed at
like,
this.
I was like, I don't know how you wanted me to tell the story besides telling it as a story, you know? And they even asked, they're like, is she making up that people are like out to get her? Is she making it up that like she has a lot of haters? Does she make up that like, and you could hear my family being like, that is not made up. Like, the girl is actually like really sought out, and she is the first person that created an OnlyFans podcast, and she is the first person that like, you know, and she does have this big page. And like, he tried asking me, he's like, do you like feed off like energy from like all these guys? Like, are you like so insecure, like all this stuff? And I was like, no. Like, I was like, no, dude. I was like, and he goes, I don't understand why you started this. And I go, and I had to explain this to my parents today too. I was like, Tori said this herself. She lost her modeling job. They
Literally.
said file for unemployment, figure out how to make money. So my mom asked me that today. She goes, what do you mean you're the first OnlyFans person to like blow up? I was like, because I was like, Mom, OnlyFans has been around forever. I was like, but when we went into quarantine, everybody moved to OnlyFans because no one had jobs. I was like, I was in e-commerce. What products were being shipped to America?
Literally.
None. What product could I push with my skill set? Myself. Moral of the story is watch your mental health. If you need to go, I mean, honestly, low-key, I will say, fuck the psychiatrist, low-key, but thank you for prescribing me Adderall. But, yeah.
Long story short, Kaitlyn is in New Jersey working on her mental health, and that's why she's on Zoom. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you for listening or watching the Bossed Up Bible, and we'll be back next week.
Let's go.
I'm Tori, by the way.
And I'm Kaitlyn, and you can follow me on Instagram. It's Kaitlyn, ITS_KAITLEN. You can find me on OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/Kaitlyn. And you can find Tori Torin Green on everything.
Literally.
Thank you for listening. We will be back next week.
Bye.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'm a shine like girls.